Welcome! You're watching the video on how to learn the soft skills employers want, but colleges do not teach. This series gives an overview of the soft skills. The previous video was formal communications. Let us know more about informal communications. Our mission is enabling IT professionals to prosper. Communication is the top skill that every employer expects from the employees, and so the focus is on communications. Let us now do a recap of the formal communication that has certain unique features. Formal does not mean only written communication. It also includes verbal communications, formally informing anything verbally, either to an individual or groups. Other mode of communication like email etc. are also becoming part of formal. It follows hierarchic or defined channels and it cannot go too far. Usually, it goes in predefined and limited directions. Formal communication is slow because it uses traditional modes. It also has a speed limits and cannot flow freely. Formal communications are reliable and mandatory for certain purposes. Although they look like old school of thoughts, they cannot be given up because they are required. Formal communications are reliable and mandatory for certain purposes, can maintain secrecy and confidentiality, but it is reliable and genuine. We are now looking at the salient features of informal communications. Informal communication is only about interactions by voice. It is face-to-face and in groups. Some rumors and gossips may not be true and so speeds up transmission. At the same time, this has its own unique aspects, like informal has no boundaries, no limits and no limitations. Goes in all directions, much faster. There are no limits, it is efficient and has high throughput. Both the types of communications do exist. Informal communications happen naturally and cannot be controlled. There are many ways of making use of this productively. Let us understand how does this work. Grapevine talks go haywire in any direction, like the roots over the panel of the grape gardens. Secrets and rumors spread like wildfire. Grapevine talks go scot-free. They spread in all directions like virus. The roots of the grapevine communication are abundant and informal. As you can visually see, they take sequential route like one to another or to groups in cluster networks, random routes of probability chains. These are part of any organization. Everyone likes these because such gossips are always amusing and entertaining. Benefits of informal grapevine communications. Informal communication benefits in many ways. There is no better media for sharing of information in situations like announcing Saturday work to compensate for an extra holiday given before, enhancing personal contacts and friendship, motivating, supplementing formal channel, relaxing from routines and monotony, encouraging managers and leaders to make announcement of favorable news like payment of bonus, but it cannot be stopped and could be made use productively by the management. Now let us do some learning, which is a prime objective of this video. How to improve the effectiveness of verbal communication. The scope of verbal or the informal communications are very many. The common thing is face-to-face interactions that we do everywhere. Verbal interactions at work becomes very significant. This is where everyone has to be objective in expressing. In every verbal communication, it is not just what we say. It also depends on how you say to be effective. We will learn this in more detail as we go along. Presenting in group requires preparation. This has to go with appropriate gesture and passion. How to share the themes is important, and you will get some idea on how to do it. There are situations when you will be participating in sharing your views in a group of people. This is a situation wherein you will be interacting formally with a formal group. In this, listening precedes. Having heard whatever you have heard until you start expressing your point of view for consideration by everyone else. Public speaking is an extraordinary skill that is required when delivering a speech that will retain the audience's attention from beginning to end. Some time ago, we shared a fact that the faculty from I.T.Career team was spending over 2 days of preparation for a 2-hour class. Because the participants are keen to learn, and so the teaching has to be effective to communicate the subject matter precisely within the stipulated time. It is like groping in the darkness. With constraints of time and limitations of the audience, it becomes necessary to make use of some supporting materials. Teaching and every other verbal communication can become at most effective if supporting materials like charts, pictures, audios, videos are extensively used. There are videos made for a variety of themes and objectives. Some of them are very effective. This is an exceptionally good example of a video. How effective a video can be does not need any narration or explanation. You may like to rewind and play again. Let us now see the summary of various verbal communications. The scope for verbal communication is wide. Contexts where the verbal communication plays vital role are face-to-face interactions, presentation to groups, public speaking among a mass, conferencing in a formal team, and teaching in a classroom. While audios and videos may be used as an ammunition to delivering a speech, verbal communication used in these situations and videos for promotions, advertisements, announcements, etc. also become very important. When you recall some of these promotions you have liked most and like to recall, you will appreciate certain key features used that impressed you. We learn them formally now. Anatomy of informal communication. Although the media is verbal or oral, the major elements that make informal communication are content of the subject matter, non-verbal expression of the key messages, written material that improves effectiveness of the spoken substance, visuals that adds power to the informal delivery of a speech. The content of the spoken material is vital to convey the message to the recipients. The effectiveness of the verbal component of the informal communication relies on the 3 other elements: non-verbal part, written material used for support like blackboard, presentation slides, etc., and videos that will add significant value. Non-verbal but integral part of the verbal communication. It is time to share an example. This is a real-time example. The videos on this channel were voiced by using text-to-speech (TTS) software initially. What you're listening to now is a professional's voice who has mastered the skill of non-verbal aspects of the audio that also comes with passion. You'll be surprised to know that a study made by Salesforce.com made an observation that irrespective of the words and sentences spoken, 93% of the communications are effective in face-to-face interactions with non-verbal elements that include facial expression, hand movements, gestures, eye contact, attitude, tone of voice, way you breathe, the way you look, listen and speak, sign language, body movements, and more. A wink of an eye can communicate a very strong message without expressing in words. It makes sense to learn the nonverbal communication. It only be done best by an expert coach through a detailed training sessions. The coach should steer your success with exercises and guide to achieve desired outcome of informal communications. Every communication needs support of written aids, blackboard, writing in a pad, slides of presentation, etc. A picture is more than 1,000 words. Visual aids used for improving effectiveness of verbal communications include pictures, charts, articles, and videos, etc. All of us have gone through learning from the teachers. We have seen that some of them are very good and the rest are just doing the job. Teaching is an art. What did the management guru Peter Drucker say about the teaching? It has to come naturally from someone who has passion to teach. Especially when it comes to informal communication, you will like the best to coach and guide you to learn. If you want to learn the soft skill from a professional, please express your interest in the comment or through an email. I.T.Career advisor will only be pleased to direct you. What next? If you like this video, please let us know in your comments. Let others also benefit. Share. Please subscribe and get notifications of more videos in the making. I.T.Career is committed to enabling IT professionals to prosper. Best wishes, and thank you for viewing.